Welcome back, Leo Lions. This is Mrs. Morgan with today's lesson over order of operations. Again, notice that there are two files in this folder in our Show Me Math 1-2 order of operations. We're going to first talk about order of operations, and then we're going to evaluate expressions that have variables in them. So at the top here, order of operations should not be a new concept. This is review from previous grades. So order of operations, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally or PEMDAS. Notice I have them organized in 4 steps. Parentheses first, such as parentheses or brackets, any sort of grouping symbol. I'm going to add here that something like a long fraction bar, and we'll see that in couple of our examples. That is also considered a grouping symbol. Something like absolute value, those are also considered grouping symbols. So it goes beyond just parentheses. Okay, E stands for exponents. Multiply, divide, notice they're on the same step. So this is first step, second step. The third step, divide could come first. The common misconception is that multiply has to come first. Not true. It depends on which one comes first in the problem. We do them left to right, and that's the same thing for our addition and subtraction. So let's do some examples. Remember, exponents go to what they touch. So the first thing, parentheses. If you look at this one, common mistake is, all right, well, we do parentheses first. We got to do that. Look inside the parentheses, it's 3. There's nothing to do inside of there. What this is really showing is the same thing as what's next to it is 2 times 3 squared. The exponent is touching the parentheses, so we're only doing 3 squared. So we have to do 3 squared. So it's the exact same problem as over here. So we'll do 3 squared, and that is 9, so we get 2 times 9. All we have left then is multiplication, so that equals 18. All right. Next one, we have addition, multiplication, subtraction. So multiplication has to come first. I'm going to write down each step after we do each step, or each computation. So 3 times 6 is 18. And then we still have that minus 15. So now we have just addition and subtraction left, so we go left to right. So what comes first is this 7 plus 18, so that is 25. And then 25 minus 15 is all we have left, so that equals 10. Okay. Next example, we have brackets. Again, the parentheses in here, right here, that means multiply. So 8 minus 3 times 2. So we do those brackets first, and then we follow order of operations inside the bracket. So I'm going to leave the bracket because all I'm going to do is the 3 times 2 first. So 8 minus 6. And then we have that times 6 outside. Okay, next in the bracket, we just have one operation left. So 8 minus 6 is 2. And then 2 times 6 gives us 12. Okay. Next one, here's that long fraction bar that I was talking about. So we do everything on top first, then everything on bottom, and then divide is the very last step. So down here, we need to do our brackets first. So follow order of operations inside of there. Divide comes before subtraction. So I'm going to leave the top number as it is, and that's all over. And then in our brackets, we have 10 minus 4 divided by 2 is 2. Then we can do the remaining on the bottom, 10 minus 2. So we have 24 over 8. Now we work with that fraction bar, divide. So 24 divided by 8 is 3. Okay, last one. So we have the fraction bar and I guess I should add up here the absolute value, and then also another grouping symbol would be the square root. So do everything on the top of the fraction bar, everything on the bottom of the fraction bar, then divide last. So we can do, let's look at the top, the absolute value. So 8 minus 5 we need to do, that is a grouping symbol. So 3 times, because it is right next to that absolute value bar. And then 8 minus 5 is 3. On the bottom, I'm gonna, since we have to do what's in that square root first, I'm gonna at least simplify my square root, or my squares. So 5 times 5 and 4 times 4. Okay, so I did 2 steps in one there. Now we can simplify what's on top. 3 times 3, which is 9. I'm going to subtract what's in that square root. So 25 minus 16 is 9. Again, I did 2 steps at once there. Then we have to simplify the bottom before we work with that long fraction bar. So 9 over the square root of 9 is 3. And then 9 divided by 3 is 3. Okay, notice I am taking these step by step. Do not try and tackle the entire problem all at once. If you go to the second form in there, now we have evaluating expressions. So we have this big long expression, 3a minus 4b plus c squared plus d. There's the starting expression. What we need to do first is plug in these values. Okay, so I'm going to plug in 3 times 2. Whenever you plug in, sorry, I'm going to zoom in so I don't take up too much room. Whenever you plug in numbers, they always go in with parentheses, and we'll talk about that. It makes more sense when we plug them in with negatives. Okay, B, let's see, we have 3, so we have minus 4 times 3 plus C is negative 4. So here's where it is important. We need to plug that in with our parentheses. So plus negative 4 squared plus our last one, D, is negative 5. Oops, I wanted to do, there we go. Okay, once we get all of our values substituted, then we can evaluate, take the order of operations, do step by step. So parentheses we have, but remember inside those parentheses there's nothing specific to do. A lot of those are just signifying there's a negative number or we're multiplying. So we need to do our exponents first. Negative 4 times negative 4 is going to give us a positive 16. Okay, if we would have not used those parentheses, it would have been a negative. So that's why we need to put them in always with parentheses. Okay, and I'm going to rewrite everything that is there. Since this is a positive 16, I'm just going to simplify it to plus. And then we have plus negative 5. So we got rid of exponents. Multiply, divide from left to right. So the first multiplication is the 3 times 2. So we have 6 minus 4 times 3 plus 16 plus negative 5. Then we have a multiplication here as well. So 6 minus 12 plus 16 plus negative 5. Then all we have left is addition and subtraction. So we go left to right. So 6 minus 12 is negative 6. Negative 6 plus plus 16. These are opposites. So we're going to subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number. So we have positive 10 plus negative 5. Now we have opposite signs, so we subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number. So we have positive 5 as our solution for that one. Okay, next one we're going to use the exact same values up top here. So let's substitute our values in. 2 times A is 2, times B is 3, minus 4 times, and I guess I don't need those little dots in between there. If they're right next to each other, we know that means multiply, and D is negative 5. Okay, multiplication first. We don't have parentheses, well, that mean anything besides multiplication, and we don't have exponents, so we need to multiply. So 2 times 2 is 4, then we have times 3, so we get 12. All right, minus, then we have 4 times negative 4 times negative 5. Be careful with all of our negatives. I look at this 4 that's in front here, this minus 4. I look at that as a negative so that we don't have 2 signs in our problem. Kind of like up here where we had plus a -5. That's the same thing as subtraction. So I always like to simplify the signs. So -4 times -4, we get a positive 16, and then we multiply it times that -5. So let's see, I think it's -80. Yep. So next step would be multiply these two out. So that would be -80. Notice then I'm just going to write it as 12 minus 80. It's going to be the same thing if you do 12 plus -80, but then if you just do 12 minus 80, you don't have two signs in between there. So 12 minus 80, it's going to be a negative, subtract them, and we get -68. Okay. Last one, substitute our values in. So A was 2, so 2 squared, and then plus 3 times B is 3, C is -4, D is -5, minus A was 2, B was 3, okay? With multiplication, we can multiply in any order, so you could multiply all of those at once if you wanted to. But before we multiply, we do need to do exponents first. So 2 squared is 4, 4 plus, let's just multiply them. 3 times 3 is 9, and then we have -4 and -5 minus 2 times 3. I'm on my multiplication step. So 9 times 4 is -36. And then we still have that times -5 minus 2 times 3. Again, I look at this as -36. So a negative times a negative, we're going to end up getting a positive. And then 36 times 5 is 180. And then minus 2 times 3. So we have 4 plus 180, and then -2 times 3, -6 or -6. Okay? Then now we got rid of all that multiplication. I kind of took it one step at a time. And then 4 plus 180 is 184 minus 6 gives us 178. Okay? So that concludes our lesson over order of operations and evaluating